Have you ever wondered how an emerging nation managed to create a constitution that has endured for over 2 centuries? The year was 1787, and the United States was still in its infancy, grappling with the challenges of nationhood. The initial governing document, the Articles of Confederation, was proving to be less than effective. It was, in essence, a loose alliance of 13 independent states, each with its own interests and agendas. The Articles of Confederation provided for a weak central government and lacked the authority to impose taxes, regulate commerce, or enforce laws. This led to a state of national chaos, economic instability, interstate disputes, and foreign threats. The young nation was on the brink of disintegration, and a call for change was growing louder. The need for a stronger central government was becoming evident. There was an urgency to create a system that could provide stability, enforce laws, and protect the rights of the citizens. But this was not going to be a simple task. It involved reconciling the interests of 13 diverse states, each with its own unique economic, geographic, and demographic characteristics. In the midst of this national crisis, a group of visionaries rose to the occasion. These were the Founding Fathers, a collective of statesmen, lawyers, and philosophers who shared a common vision for a united, free, and prosperous nation. They were driven by the desire to create a government of the people, by the people, and for the people that could stand the test of time. These visionaries recognized the need for a radical shift from the Articles of Confederation to a new constitution that would empower the federal government while safeguarding individual liberties and state rights. But this was easier said than done. It required a delicate balance of power and a series of compromises to ensure that no single entity could become too powerful. This was the backdrop against which the Founding Fathers gathered in Philadelphia in the summer of 1787. The stage was set for a historic event that would forever alter the course of American history, the Constitutional Convention. And so the quest for a more perfect union began. The Constitutional Convention was a meeting of minds, featuring some of the most influential figures of the time. Let's take a closer look at these remarkable individuals and the debates that shaped the course of American history. James Madison, known as the father of the Constitution, was a key player in this historic event. His intellectual prowess and political savvy helped shape the Virginia Plan, which proposed a strong central government divided into 3 branches. Madison's vision laid the groundwork for today's executive, legislative, and judicial branches. Another notable delegate was Benjamin Franklin, the oldest participant at the convention. His wisdom, diplomacy, and wit often diffused tense moments and helped the delegates find common ground. Franklin's advocacy for compromise made him instrumental in shaping the final document. And of course, we cannot forget the towering presence of George Washington. His leadership as the presiding officer of the convention provided a stabilizing influence. His reputation alone commanded respect, allowing for productive debates. Speaking of debates, the convention was dominated by 2 major issues: representation and slavery. The question of how states would be represented in the new government led to intense debates. The smaller states favored equal representation, while the larger states argued for representation based on population. This dispute was finally resolved with the Great Compromise, which proposed a bicameral legislature. The issue of slavery was another contentious topic. Northern states wanted to end the importation of slaves, while Southern states argued that such a decision would devastate their economy. The delegates eventually agreed to the 3/5 compromise, where each slave would be counted as 3/5 of a person for taxation and representation purposes. These debates were not just academic, they shaped the very nature of the American government. The delegates' decisions during the Constitutional Convention echo through the centuries, influencing the principles and values that govern our nation today. One of the most contentious issues at the convention was the question of representation. It was a classic power struggle, with populous states on one side and less populous states on the other. The question was, how should the states be represented in the new government? The Virginia Plan, presented by James Madison, proposed a bicameral legislature where both houses' membership would be determined by each state's population. This plan favored larger, populous states, as they would have a greater voice in the government. On the other hand, the New Jersey Plan, proposed by William Patterson, championed the cause of smaller states. Under this plan, each state would have equal representation in a unicameral Congress, regardless of its size or population. So we had a stalemate: larger states advocating for representation based on population, and smaller states pushing for equal representation. The convention seemed to be at an impasse until Connecticut's Roger Sherman proposed the Great Compromise. The Great Compromise, also known as the Connecticut Compromise, aimed to balance the interests of both large and small states. It proposed a bicameral legislature, just like the Virginia Plan. However, in one house, the House of Representatives, representation would be based on population. After months of debate and compromise, the delegates were finally ready to put pen to paper. The final draft of the Constitution was a product of visionary thinking, heated discussions, and significant compromises. This wasn't just another document. It was a blueprint for a nation, a roadmap to democracy. The Constitution proposed a new government structure divided into 3 branches: the legislative, the executive, and the judicial. Each branch was given its own set of powers, and a system of checks and balances was established to ensure no single branch could dominate the others. This separation of powers was a revolutionary concept that safeguarded against the tyranny the nation had fought so hard to escape. The legislative branch, composed of the Senate and the House of Representatives, was tasked with making the laws. The executive branch, headed by the president, was responsible for enforcing these laws, and the judicial branch, led by the Supreme Court, was given the power to interpret the laws. But the Constitution was more than just a government structure. It was a social contract between the government and its citizens. It outlined the fundamental rights and freedoms of the American people and set the stage for a government of the people, by the people, for the people. Over the centuries, the Constitution has proven to be a living document, one that adapts and evolves with the changing times. It has been amended 27 times to reflect societal changes and protect the rights of all citizens. It continues to guide the nation, serving as a beacon of democracy and a symbol of the American ideals of liberty, justice, and equality. On September 17, 1787, the Constitution was signed, marking a new era for the United States. This was not just a piece of parchment, but a declaration of a nation's identity and aspirations. As we delve into the stories and significance of this historic document, we appreciate the wisdom and foresight of the Founding Fathers, who gave shape to the United States as we know it today. The Constitution is a testament to their vision and a reminder of the enduring spirit of American democracy. The Constitutional Convention was more than just a meeting. It was a crucible where ideas about governance and liberty were tested and refined. It was a gathering of minds that would ultimately shape the contours of a nascent nation. These were men of vision and pragmatism, who understood the delicate balance of power and the need for a robust yet flexible framework to govern a diverse and dynamic society. This 4-month marathon of debate and decision-making in the sweltering summer of 1787 gave birth to a masterstroke of political architecture, the United States Constitution. This document, a product of compromise and collaboration, became the bedrock of American democracy, a beacon of hope and a model for nations around the world. The Constitution has endured over 2 centuries, a testament to its inherent strength and adaptability. Despite the tumultuous changes that have swept the country and the world, this document has remained resilient, absorbing the shocks and adapting to the times. It has been amended 27 times, reflecting the evolving values and aspirations of the American people. But let's not forget, the Constitution is not just a historical artifact. It is a living, breathing entity. It guides our leaders, informs our laws, and protects our rights. It is a reminder of our shared values and our collective commitment to liberty, equality, and justice. Reflecting on the Constitutional Convention, we see a group of individuals who, despite their differences, came together with a common purpose: to create a stronger, more effective government. They understood the need for compromise and consensus in the face of complex and contentious issues. Their vision and their resolve continue to inspire us today. So next time you think about the U.S. Constitution, remember the summer of 1787, when a group of men came together to frame the future of a nation. It was a moment of profound significance, a turning point that would shape the course of history, and a testament to the power of ideas and the strength of collective action.